The signal booster sparked again, and I resisted the urge to punch it. 3 years of scavenging parts from crashed ships and broken tech, and this piece of junk still couldn't push a message past KRL's magnetic interference. I adjusted the frequency modulator for the 100th time, watching the needle barely twitch on the output meter. You know that thing's not going to work any better just because you glare at it. I didn't need to turn around to know Luna had entered my workshop. After 3 years, I could identify her footsteps on the metal grating. It worked yesterday, I said, tightening a loose connection. Got a signal out to at least the third moon. The third moon is uninhabited rock. Luna moved closer, and I caught her reflection in the dark screen of my salvaged monitor. She was wiping dust from her biomechanical spine rig, the bioluminescent nodes pulsing their steady rhythm. You need to boost the output by at least 40% to reach any shipping lanes. I know. I set down my tools and finally looked at her. I need a better power source. The solar collectors aren't cutting it. Luna crossed her arms, her red eyes studying me with that direct intensity she never bothered to soften. Or you could accept that you've done everything possible and stop driving yourself crazy. They're out there, Luna, Jamie and Shiva. I stopped, shaking my head. They're looking for me. I just need to help them find me. 3 years is a long time. Not long enough to give up. She held my gaze for a moment, then nodded once. That was Luna. No arguments, no false comfort. She accepted what I said and moved on. It was one of the things I appreciated most about her. Fine, then you'll want to see what I found this morning. I straightened, found where? The Canyon Networks, about 15 kilometers south. I was tracking that storm hopper we lost last week. She pulled a small hollow projector from her belt and activated it. A three-dimensional map flickered to life, showing the familiar topography of KRL's southern region. There's a cave system I haven't explored before. Most of it's natural, but there's a section that's definitely not. I leaned closer, studying the scan. The natural cave formations showed the irregular patterns I'd learned to recognize, but deeper in, the walls became too straight, too precise. Structure. Ancient structure. And before you ask, no, it's not from any of the local settlements. The construction is completely different, more advanced. I took a quick look, saw some markings on the walls, and thought of you. My right hand tingled, the glowing mark on my palm pulsing slightly. It always did that when something connected to the Harmony station came up. After the chaos on Hellion, after bonding with the first key and barely escaping with my life, that mark had become both a reminder and a compass. Show me. Luna's mouth curved slightly, not quite a smile, but close. Grab your gear, it's a climb. The journey to the canyon took 2 hours on our sand skimmers, modified vehicles that Luna's people had designed to handle KRL's harsh terrain. The planet's 3 suns hung at different angles in the purple-tinted sky, casting overlapping shadows across the rust-colored dunes. I'd grown used to the alien landscape, but sometimes I still missed Hellion's twin sun and red sky. We left the skimmers at the canyon's edge and descended on foot. Luna moved with the easy confidence of someone who'd spent her entire life in these rocks. I followed, using my earth sense to feel the stability of each handhold before trusting my weight to it. The veins in my arms glowed faintly as I connected with the stone, feeling its composition, its strength. You're getting better at that, Luna said, not even breathing hard despite the steep climb. When you first got here, you'd have taken twice as long. I had a good teacher. The best teacher, she corrected, and this time she definitely smiled. The cave entrance was barely visible, hidden behind a fallen rock formation that looked natural but probably wasn't. Luna squeezed through first, and I followed, my eyes adjusting to the dim light. I pulled a glow rod from my belt and activated it, casting blue-white light across the tunnel walls. "The markings start about 50 meters in," Luna said, her own lights brightening the path ahead. We walked in silence, the only sounds our footsteps and the occasional drip of water from the ceiling. Then the tunnel opened into a larger chamber, and I stopped, my breath catching. The walls were covered in symbols. Not random scratches or primitive art. These were precise, deliberate carvings that seemed to shimmer in our light. Geometric patterns interlocked with flowing script, creating designs that were both alien and somehow familiar. My hand burned, the mark glowing bright enough to cast orange light across the nearest wall. "That's new," Luna said, staring at my hand. I moved closer to the wall, raising my palm toward it. The symbols seemed to respond, pulsing with a faint golden luminescence. My heart hammered in my chest. "These are the same as the markings I seen when I touched that crystal on Hellion." "You're sure?" "I bonded with a key, Luna. I'll never forget what those symbols look like." I traced one of the larger glyphs with my finger, feeling warmth beneath the stone. "This is connected. This is." A sound echoed from deeper in the cave system. Not a natural sound, the distinct scrape of metal against stone. Luna's hand went to one of her falcons immediately, the plasma blade humming to life with a crimson glow. "We're not alone." I pressed my hand flat against the wall, using my abilities to sense vibrations through the rock. There, multiple sources, at least 5 or 6, moving through parallel tunnels. They were searching for something, spreading out in a pattern too organized to be random explorers. "They're looking for this place," I whispered. "They know about the markings." "Friends of yours?" "Definitely not." I pulled my hand back, trying to think. If someone else knew about the Harmony Station keys, if they were searching for them too, that meant the collective hadn't given up. 3 years later, they were still hunting. Another sound, closer this time. Voices, distorted by the tunnel acoustics but clearly coordinated. Luna shifted into a defensive stance, her second falx now drawn as well. "We need to go," she said. "Now." "Wait." I moved along the wall, searching desperately. There had to be more information, something that would tell me why these markings were here, what they meant. My mark pulsed brighter, and I followed that instinct, letting it guide me to a section where the symbols clustered together in a specific pattern. A star map. I recognized several key systems in the Kuiper galaxy, but others were marked with symbols I didn't know. And at the center, surrounded by 5 distinct glyphs, was a representation of the Harmony Station itself. "Asmund," Luna's voice was urgent now. "They're almost here." I pulled out my communicator and started taking pictures, capturing as many of the symbols as I could. The footsteps were getting louder, and I could see light flickering in one of the adjacent tunnels. "Multiple targets confirmed in the primary chamber," a voice said, sharp and clear. "Maintain formation and secure all exits." Luna grabbed my shoulder. "Time's up." I took one last picture and nodded. We ran back the way we came, but before we reached the tunnel, armored figures emerged from 3 different passages, blocking our escape routes. Their suits were marked by the family I left behind on Hellion Alex's family, and the weapons they carried weren't for warning shots. One of them stepped forward, a woman with cold eyes visible through her helmet's visor. "Asmund Rune, the collective has been looking for you. We're going to need you to come with us." The collective soldier's ultimatum hung in the air for maybe half a second before Luna moved. She didn't wait for orders or discussion. She just acted, both falx blazing as she launched herself at the nearest armored figure. The plasma blades screamed against reinforced plating, and suddenly the chamber erupted into chaos. I slammed my hands against the cave floor. The stone responded instantly, rippling outward like water from where I touched. 3 years of practice, 3 years of learning to listen to the earth beneath my feet, it all came together in one moment. The ground buckled beneath the soldiers' feet, throwing their formation into disarray. One went down hard, their weapon clattering across the suddenly uneven floor. The woman who'd spoken fired, but I was already moving. I pulled myself sideways through the stone wall, holding my breath as the rock parted around me. It felt like diving through cold honey, every instinct screaming that I should be crushed, but I'd learned to trust the earth. It wouldn't hurt me as long as I respected it. I emerged from the wall behind their line, gasping for air. My lungs burned. I could only hold my breath for about 45 seconds, which meant I couldn't travel far. But it was enough. "Runes behind us," someone shouted. I pressed both hands against the chamber wall and concentrated. The veins in my arms pulsed bright as I connected with the mineral composition of the stone: iron oxide, silicon dioxide, traces of crystallized carbon. I pulled, shaping, growing. Jagged spikes of stone erupted from the wall, forcing the soldiers to scatter. The effort sent a wave of exhaustion through me, but I pushed through it. Luna had taken down one soldier and was trading blows with 2 more, moving with a lethal grace that still impressed me even after 3 years of training together. Her biomechanical spine rig glowed brighter with each movement, enhancing her already formidable speed. One soldier made the mistake of getting too close. Her falx carved through his weapon like it was made of paper. "The tunnel," she shouted at me. I saw what she meant. While the soldiers had blocked the main passage we'd entered through, the chamber had other openings. One of them looked promising, angling upward in a direction that might lead to another exit. The problem was getting to it. A plasma bolt sizzled past my head, close enough that I felt the heat. The remaining soldiers had regrouped and were advancing with more caution now. The woman in charge was barking orders, trying to box us in without bringing the whole cave down around us. Smart but not smart enough. I crouched and placed both palms flat on the ground, closing my eyes. My earth sense expanded outward, feeling the structure of the cave system, the stress points, the weak areas. There, a natural fault line running through the chamber, probably caused by ancient seismic activity. If I could just... "Whatever you're doing, do it faster." Luna had moved to cover me, both falx whirling in a defensive pattern that kept the soldiers at bay. But there were too many of them, and more light flickered in the tunnels behind them. Reinforcements. I found the fault line with my power and pushed. Not hard enough to collapse everything. I wasn't trying to kill anyone, and I definitely didn't want to bury myself, but enough to make a statement. The ground shuddered, and a crack split across the chamber floor with a sound like thunder. The soldiers stumbled, and one whole section of floor dropped about half a meter, creating a barrier between us and them. "Move!" I grabbed Luna's arm and we ran for the upward tunnel. Plasma fire followed us, scorching the walls. I focused on the stone beneath my feet as we ran, smoothing it, letting us slide forward like we were surfing on solid rock. Luna adapted instantly, letting me guide her as we accelerated through the tunnel far faster than anyone could normally run on foot. Behind us, I heard the woman shouting orders. "Get the dampeners online. Cut off his connection to the substrate." Dampeners, that was new, and not good. The tunnel twisted upward and I felt fresh air ahead. We were close to the surface. My mark pulsed steadily, still warm from proximity to those symbols. Whatever this place was, whatever connection it had to the Harmony Station, the collective knew about it. They'd come prepared. We burst out of a different cave opening about 200 meters from where we'd entered, emerging into the harsh triple sunlight of KRL's afternoon. I stumbled, my legs shaking from the sustained use of my powers. Luna caught me before I face-planted into the rust-colored sand. "Can you make it to the skimmers?" she asked, already scanning the canyon rim for pursuit. Yeah, I'm good." I wasn't good. I was exhausted and my whole body felt like I'd been hollowed out, but we didn't have time for rest. I pulled the Oni-style breathing mask from my hip and secured it over my face. The filtered air helped clear my head a little. We made it to the skimmers and gunned the engines without looking back. The canyon became a blur of red and orange as we raced through it, taking turns at speeds that would have terrified me 3 years ago. Now it was just Tuesday. "They'll track us," Luna said through the comm link. Her voice was calm, matter-of-fact. "Your signal booster's been broadcasting your location every time you power it up." The realization hit me like cold water. Of course. I'd been so focused on getting a message out that I hadn't considered who else might be listening. How long do you think they've known? Hard to say, but they found those ruins pretty fast after I discovered them. Could be coincidence. She paused, but I don't believe in coincidence. Neither did I. We reached our base as the suns began their staggered descent toward the horizon. The base was built into an abandoned mining facility, its location chosen specifically because the surrounding ore deposits made it difficult to scan. Luna had found it for me 6 months after I'd crashed on KRL, back when I was still learning to survive. Inside, I went straight to the signal booster while Luna secured the entrance and activated the defensive perimeter. My hands moved automatically, checking connections, adjusting frequencies. If the collective had been tracking my broadcasts, I needed to change everything. Different encryption, different carrier waves, maybe even. The receiver crackled to life. I froze, staring at it. Static washed through the speakers, but underneath it there was something else. A pattern, a signal. My fingers flew across the controls, isolating the frequency, cleaning up the interference. The magnetic storms that made broadcasting off-world so difficult worked both ways. Receiving was just as hard. But this signal was strong, punching through the interference like it was designed specifically to reach KRL. Because it probably was. "Come on," I muttered, adjusting the final filter. Come on. The static resolved into a voice. "Repeat, this is the Crimson Echo attempting to reach Asmund Rune. If you're receiving this transmission, respond on Secure Channel 7. Asmund, I swear to all the gods in the galaxy, if you're alive down there and you don't answer, I'm going to kill you myself. Jamie." My hands shook as I switched to Channel 7 and grabbed the transmitter. "Echo, this is Rune. I'm here, I'm alive." For 3 heartbeats there was nothing but static. Then, "ASMUND." Jamie's voice came through so loud I had to turn down the volume. "You absolute idiot, do you have any idea how long I've been looking for you? 3 years. 3 years of jumping from system to system, following every rumor, checking every backwater planet." "It's good to hear your voice too," I said, and I had to sit down because my legs suddenly didn't want to support me anymore. Luna appeared at my shoulder, her red eyes reflecting the glow of the equipment. She didn't say anything, just put a hand on my shoulder. A gesture of support from someone who didn't do unnecessary gestures. "Where are you?" I asked Jamie. "How fast can you get here?" "I'm in orbit. Have been for the last 6 hours trying to punch through your planet's stupid magnetic field." Jamie's voice shifted, becoming more serious. "I'm picking up other ships in the system though. Military grade, running dark but not dark enough. Are you in trouble?" The collective found me. They're here on planet. We just barely escaped. Say no more. I'm already plotting descent vectors. Is your location secure? I looked at Luna. She tilted her head considering, then nodded once. For now, I said, but we need to move fast. I'll send you coordinates. Received. I'll be there in 90 minutes. Asmund, she paused, and when she spoke again, her voice was softer. I'm really glad you're okay. Me too, and Jamie, there's someone I want you to meet. After I ended the transmission, I sat in silence for a moment, letting it all sink in. 3 years. 3 years of survival, of training, of sending signals into the void hoping someone would hear. And now. So that's Jamie, Luna said. Your childhood friend. Yeah. She sounds loud. I laughed despite everything. You have no idea. Luna moved to one of the windows, looking out at the darkening landscape. The bioluminescent nodes on her spine rig pulsed steadily, a rhythm I'd learned to read over the years. Right now they indicated thoughtfulness, maybe a touch of concern. Things are going to change now, she said. It wasn't a question, but I answered anyway. Yeah, they are. The collective won't stop, not now that they've found you again. And those ruins, whatever's there, is important enough that they brought a strike team. I pulled out my communicator and scrolled through the pictures I'd taken of the star map and symbols. Even on the small screen, they seemed to glow with significance. 7 glyphs around the Harmony Station. 7 keys. I had bonded with one. Where were the others? If a ruined WQS here, then where is the crystal, or the one that may have bonded with it? We need to go back, I said. Once Jamie gets here, once we have a ship and backup, we need to see what else is in those ruins. Luna turned from the window, her scaled face unreadable in the dim light. You're sure? The collective knows about it now. They'll be fortifying their position, bringing in more troops. I know, but whatever's down there, it's connected to the Harmony Station, to the keys. I can't just leave it. I stood up, facing her directly. Luna, you've helped me survive here for 3 years. You don't owe me anything more if you want to stay behind. Don't be stupid, she cut me off. I didn't spend 3 years teaching you how to fight just to watch you run off and get yourself killed without me. Despite the tension, despite everything, I smiled. Thanks. Thank me by not dying. She checked her falx, the plasma blades igniting briefly in a flash of crimson. 90 minutes until your friend arrives. I suggest we use that time to prep gear and make sure we're not walking into an ambush. She was right. Jamie was coming, and if the collective was tracking communications, they'd know it too. The next 90 minutes could be the difference between a reunion and a firefight. I moved to my workbench and started gathering equipment. My gravity boots needed a charge, and I wanted to bring extra power cells for the various tech we'd need. Luna began her own preparations, methodical and efficient as always. Outside, KRL's 3 suns finally set, plunging the landscape into the planet's brief night. Somewhere out there, the collective was regrouping, and somewhere above, Jamie was bringing her ship down through the atmosphere. 3 years after getting stranded were about to end. But something told me my problems were just beginning. I was double-checking my gear when Luna's spine rig flared bright red. We have a problem, she said, her eyes fixed on the sensor display. 3 signatures approaching from the south, ground vehicles moving fast. My stomach dropped. The collective. Who else? She killed the display and started gathering her weapons. They tracked us here, probably triangulated our position from your signal. Of course they did. I'd been so focused on finally reaching Jamie that I hadn't thought about who else might be listening. 3 years of caution, thrown away in one moment of hope. "We need to move," I said, already pulling up a map of the surrounding area on my communicator. "Somewhere they won't expect." Luna leaned over my shoulder, studying the terrain. Her clawed finger tapped a point about 15 kilometers northwest. "There. The old mining complex near the crystal fields. Multiple entry points, difficult terrain, and the mineral deposits will make scanning harder." "That's close to the ruins," I observed. "Exactly," she met my eyes. "If we're going back anyway, might as well be in position." She had a point. I quickly coded an encrypted message to Jamie with the new coordinates, using a cipher we'd developed as kids. Anyone intercepting it would just see garbage data. I sent it on a tight beam transmission, then powered down the main transmitter completely. "Done, let's go." We grabbed what we could carry and abandoned the rest. It hurt leaving behind 3 years of accumulated survival gear, but staying hurt more. The skimmers roared to life, and we shot out through the back entrance just as the first plasma rounds hit the front of the facility. The terrain blurred past us as we pushed the skimmers to their limits. KRL's landscape was unforgiving at the best of times. Jagged rock formations, sudden drop-offs, patches of unstable ground that could swallow a vehicle whole. In the dark, with only our running lights, it was borderline suicidal. I loved it. 3 years of riding these canyons had taught me every shortcut, every safe path, every place where I could use my earth sense to smooth our way. Luna matched me move for move, her enhanced reflexes letting her navigate terrain that would challenge most pilots. We reached the old mining complex 40 minutes later. It was a sprawling mess of abandoned structures and half-collapsed tunnels, slowly being reclaimed by KRL's harsh environment. Luna had been right. This was defensible ground. I pulled out my communicator. The encrypted response from Jamie was already waiting. "New coordinates received. ETA 30 minutes. Also Asmund about Shiva." My heart jumped. "What about her?" Jamie's voice came through, slightly distorted by encryption. "She's alive. Been searching for you just as hard as I have. Maybe harder, actually. That princess can be pretty stubborn when she wants something." Princess, right. I'd almost forgotten that Shiva was royalty, though she'd never acted like it. Where is she now? That's the complicated part. About 2 months ago, she picked up a lead on another key location. Something about ancient ruins on the edge of the Kyber galaxy. She went to investigate, told me she'd check in regularly. Jamie paused. Her last message said she found something important, but she needed to verify it before bringing us in. That was 3 weeks ago. 3 weeks. The collective had been quiet for 3 weeks too, until they showed up at the ruins today. Coincidence? I didn't think so. "Jamie, the collective is here, on KRL. They found ruins that connect to the Harmony Station, and they're actively hunting me." The silence on the other end lasted too long. When Jamie spoke again, her voice was tight. "Then we get you off that rock fast. I'm beginning my final approach now." Luna and I set up a perimeter while we waited. She took high ground with a clear view of the approaches, while I stayed near the main structure where I could use my powers effectively if needed. The crystal fields nearby hummed with energy I could feel even from here. Thousands of different minerals, all singing their own frequency. The crimson echo came down like a falling star. Jamie's ship was different than I remembered. More weapons, heavier armor, scorch marks that spoke of hard-won battles. But the basic lines were the same, and my chest tightened as I watched it settle onto the rocky ground with the kind of precision that only Jamie could pull off. The boarding ramp dropped, and there she was. Jamie had changed. She'd always been tough, but now she moved with the kind of confidence that came from surviving on your own. Her exosuit was battered but well-maintained, and the weapons she carried were professional grade. But when she saw me, her face split into a grin that was pure childhood friend. "You look terrible," she said. "You look worse," I replied. We met halfway, and for a moment I forgot about the collective, the ruins, everything. Jamie hit me hard enough to knock the wind out, then held on like she was afraid I'd disappear. 3 years, she said into my shoulder. 3 years of thinking you might be dead. Takes more than a bad hyperspace jump to kill me. Apparently, she pulled back, looking me over. You've gotten bigger, and what's with the hair? I touched my fishtail braids self-consciously. Local style, when in KRL. You look ridiculous, but she was smiling. Luna approached, her biomechanical spine rig pulsing a cautious yellow. Jamie's hand didn't quite go to her weapon, but it was close. Jamie, this is Luna, I said quickly. She's the reason I'm still alive. Luna, Jamie. The two women studied each other for a long moment. Then Luna extended her hand. He talks about you constantly, Luna said. It's annoying. Jamie laughed and took the offered hand. I like her already. The reunion was cut short by my communicator beeping. Luna's sensors had picked up movement. The collective was doing a wide sweep of the area, probably looking for us. We don't have much time, I said. The ruins are less than 3 kilometers from here. If we're going to investigate before they lock it down completely, it has to be now. Jamie checked her weapons. Then let's move. Echo's got stealth capabilities, but they won't last forever against military-grade scanners. We approached the ruins on foot, using the crystal fields as cover. My earth sense screamed warnings about the terrain, too many minerals, too much interference. It would hide us, but it would also hide anyone else. The entrance Luna and I had used before was now guarded by 2 soldiers in collective armor. We circled around, and I felt along the rock face with my powers until I found what I was looking for. A weak point in the stone, a natural fault that led down into the underground chambers. Through here, I said, placing my hands on the rock. The stone parted like a curtain and we slipped inside. I sealed it behind us, leaving no trace of our entry. Jamie activated a light stick, and the tunnel lit up in pale blue. We moved deeper, following the pull I felt from my marked hand. It was stronger now, almost painful. Something down here was calling to me. The tunnel opened into a chamber we hadn't reached before, smaller than the one with the star map, but more focused. And in the center, suspended in a column of crystallized energy, was another key crystal. It pulsed with inner light, cycling through colors I didn't have names for. My mark burned in response, and I knew without being told that this was what the collective had been searching for. Asmund, Luna said quietly, look. Beside the column was a skeleton. Based on the bone structure, humanoid but not quite human. Its hand was extended toward the crystal, frozen in its final moment. The key bearer, I whispered. They died before they could bond with it. Jamie circled the chamber, scanning for traps or sensors. How long do you think they've been here? Centuries, maybe longer. I approached the column carefully. The ruins are ancient. Whoever they were trying to reach the key when. My hand touched the crystal. The vision hit like a freight train. I saw the Harmony Station as it had been. Not the abandoned relic from my first key bonding, but alive, thriving, filled with beings from 100 different species. The station wasn't just a structure. It was a bridge, connecting realities, maintaining balance across dimensions. 7 key bearers stood in a circle, their marks glowing. 7 seals holding back something vast and hungry that pressed against the walls of reality. Then war. The station attacked, key bearers falling one by one, the seals breaking. Someone, I couldn't see their face, making a desperate choice to scatter the keys, to hide them, to give future generations a chance to restore what was lost. I saw the bearer whose bones lay beside me, saw them fleeing with their key, crashing on KRL, crawling into these ruins as their life faded. Saw them trying one last time to bond with the key, to pass on their legacy, but their injuries were too severe. They died alone in the dark, hoping someone would find what they'd protected. The vision released me, and I fell to my knees gasping. Esmond, Luna caught me before I hit the ground. The bearer died, I managed. The key is unbonded. It's been waiting here for centuries for someone who can. My marked hand touched the crystal again, and this time there was a question in the light, a choice offered. I thought of the collective, of Alex, of all the people who'd hunt these keys to use them for power or destruction. I thought of Shiva, somewhere out there still searching. Of Jamie, who'd spent 3 years looking for me. Of Luna, who'd become family in my exile. "Yeah," I said to the crystal, "I accept." The light exploded outward. Power flooded through me, different from the first key but related to it. Where the first had been about harmony, about balance, this one was about protection, about boundaries. My left hand blazed with new light, a mark forming to mirror the one on my right. I saw the location of a third key flash through my mind, coordinates burning themselves into my memory. Then it was over. I knelt on the stone floor, both hands glowing softly, feeling the weight of 2 keys now bound to my soul. "Well," Jamie said into the silence, "that was dramatic." Luna helped me stand. "Can you walk?" "I think so." My legs felt like water, but I managed to stay upright. "We need to leave, now. The collective will have sensed that." We moved back through the tunnels as fast as my shaky legs would allow. Behind us, I heard shouts. The guards had definitely noticed something. We emerged into the crystal fields and ran for the echo. Alarms wailed in the distance. Lights swept the darkness. The collective was coming in force. We made it to the ship with maybe 30 seconds to spare. Jamie hit the engines before the ramp fully closed, and the echo shot skyward on a pillar of fire. Plasma bolts followed us up, but Jamie was already weaving through evasive patterns that would make most pilots sick. I collapsed into a seat and looked at my hands. Both marks pulsed in time with my heartbeat. 2 keys now, 5 still out there. "So," Luna said, strapping in beside me, "this is space travel." "Welcome to the insanity," Jamie called from the pilot's seat. "Esmond, where are we going?" I closed my eyes and saw the coordinates the second key had shown me. I know where the third key is, but Shiva's lead, we should check on that first. She might be in trouble. Jamie pulled up the navigation console. Her last known location is about 4 days away at standard speed, but Esmond, her voice got serious. "The collective knows you have 2 keys now. They're going to come after us with everything." "Let them," I said, surprising myself with how much I meant it. "We've got work to do." 4 days in hyperspace gave me too much time to think. The crimson echo hummed around us, a sound that Jamie insisted was normal but made Luna's spine rig flash anxious yellow every few hours. She'd never been off KRL before. Hell, she'd probably never expected to leave. But here she was, sitting cross-legged in the cargo bay, running maintenance on her Falx while the ship tore through dimensions at speeds that would have melted our minds if we tried to comprehend them. I found her there on the second day, her claws working with practiced precision over the plasma blade housing. "You okay?" I asked, sliding down to sit beside her. "Define okay." She didn't look up from her work. I'm traveling through a dimension I don't understand in a metal box I barely trust to find a space dragon princess I've never met, so we can chase after magical keys that apparently hold back interdimensional horrors. She paused. So yeah, I'm fantastic. I couldn't help but grin when you put it like that. It sounds insane. She finally met my eyes, but I'm still here. I know, I bumped her shoulder with mine. Thanks for that. Don't thank me yet. If this ship falls apart in whatever this hyperspace thing is, I'm going to be very annoyed with you in the afterlife. Jamie's voice crackled over the intercom. We're not falling apart, and I can hear you, Luna. Good, Luna called back. You should hear me. Your ship makes terrible noises. I left them to their bickering and made my way to the cockpit. Through the viewport, hyperspace looked like someone had turned reality into streaming ribbons of impossible color. I'd seen it once before, for about 30 seconds before our jump went wrong and scattered us across the galaxy. The memory made my chest tight. Jamie glanced at me as I dropped into the co-pilot's seat. You're thinking too loud again. Just remembering. Don't. Her hands moved over the controls, making tiny adjustments. We made it out, all of us eventually. That's what matters. Shiva's been silent for 3 weeks. Shiva can turn into a dragon and breathe in space. She's fine. But Jamie's jaw was tight. Probably. I looked at my hands, both marks glowing softly in the dim cockpit. The new key pulsed on my left palm, still getting used to me. Or maybe I was still getting used to it. The coordinates it had given me burned in my mind. A third key waiting somewhere in the Kyber galaxy. We could go there first, I said quietly. The third key, get it before the collective does. We could, Jamie pulled up a star chart. It's actually closer than Shiva's last coordinates. Save us 2 days, maybe 3. I stared at the glowing paths on the display. The logical choice was obvious. Every minute we delayed was a minute the collective could use to find that third key, or the fourth, or any of the others. But you're not going to, Jamie continued, because Shiva went silent investigating collective activity, and you're worried they got to her. She's been looking for me for 3 years, I said. I can't just. I know, Jamie adjusted our course slightly. Already set the path to her last known location. We'll find her first, then worry about the keys. Relief washed through me. Thank you. Don't thank me. Thank whatever cosmic force made me your friend, because anyone sane would have left you on KRL. We dropped out of hyperspace on the 3rd day. The planet below us looked wrong. Not dead exactly, but sleeping. Frozen. The entire surface was covered in ice that reflected starlight like a mirror. Scanners are picking up ruins, Jamie reported. Big ones, ancient by the energy signature, and she leaned forward. There's a ship in low orbit, small personal class, dragon design. That's her. I was already moving toward the armory. Take us down. Luna joined me as I pulled on my jacket and checked my breathing mask. She'd adapted to the ship faster than I'd expected, moving through zero-G sections like she'd been born to it. Dragon Princess, she said, testing the weight of her falx. Does she actually look like a dragon? Sort of, it's complicated. Everything with you is complicated. The echo shuddered as we hit atmosphere. Through the viewport, I could see the ruins now, massive structures jutting from the ice like broken bones. They shared the same architectural style as the ruins on KRL, the same flowing curves and impossible angles. There, I pointed to an open plaza near the largest structure. Set down there. Jamie brought us in smooth and steady. The moment the ramp dropped, cold hit me like a physical force. My breath fogged even through my mask, and ice crystals formed on my jacket immediately. "This is miserable," Luna said, her scales already turning dark with cold. "Shiva likes it," I replied, activating my earth sense. The ice was too thick to read much, but underneath I felt stone, ancient and familiar. "This way." We followed footprints, clawed, definitely draconic, through the ruins. They led us deeper into the structure, past walls covered in the same glyphs I'd seen on KRL. But these were different, more complete. They showed the Harmony Station in detail, showed the 7 key bearers standing guard, showed what they were guarding against. It was hard to look at directly. The glyphs seemed to slide away from my vision, like my brain refused to process what they depicted. Something vast, something hungry, something that existed in spaces between spaces, feeding on disorder and chaos. "That's what the station was holding back," Jamie breathed. "Some kind of interdimensional predator. Or an entire dimension of them." Luna traced one of the glyphs carefully. "These markings, they're warnings, instructions. This isn't just a lock, it's a seal." The footprints led us into a central chamber, and there she was. Shiva stood before a massive display wall, her wings partially extended, ice crystals forming patterns in the air around her. She'd gotten taller, I thought distantly. 3 years had changed her from the teenager I remembered into something more. She was studying the glyphs with such intensity that she didn't hear us approach. "Shiva." She spun, ice constructs forming instantly in the air, spears, shields, weapons I didn't have names for. Then recognition hit, and everything shattered into harmless powder. "Esmond." I barely got my arms up before she hit me, wings wrapping around us both. She was freezing cold and I didn't care. 3 years. 3 years of thinking I might never see her again. "You're alive," she said into my shoulder. I couldn't find you. I tried everything, I searched everywhere." "I know, I'm sorry. The planet had magnetic interference, I couldn't send signals." "Don't apologize." She pulled back and I saw her eyes were wet. "You're here now, that's weight." Her gaze dropped to my hands. Both marks were glowing brighter in response to whatever energy filled this place. "You have 2 keys. Found the second one on KRL. Long story." "It's a pretty good story," Jamie added from behind me. Shiva's face lit up even more. "Jamie, you found him." They embraced, and Luna cleared her throat pointedly. I realized I hadn't made introductions. "Shiva, this is Luna. She's the one who kept me alive on KRL, taught me everything I know about combat." Shiva extended her hand, ice crystals still dancing around her fingers. "Thank you for protecting him." Luna took the offered hand, studying Shiva with interest. "So you're the princess he wouldn't shut up about." "I prefer not to use that title," Shiva said. "Good, I don't like royalty." Luna's spine rig pulsed a cautious green, her version of approval. "But I like people who can fight, can you?" "Want to find out?" "Maybe later," I interjected. "Shiva, what did you find here?" Her expression sobered immediately. She turned back to the display wall, gesturing for us to follow. "This ruin is older than the ones on KRL. It's a research station, I think, built by the same civilization that created the Harmony Station. They were studying the threat." She pointed to a sequence of glyphs. The Harmony Station wasn't just connecting realities, it was keeping them separate. There's a space between dimensions. Think of it like the hyperspace lanes we use for travel, but deeper, more fundamental. And in that space, there are things that feed on disorder, on entropy, on civilizations tearing themselves apart. "The collective," Jamie said quietly, "is exactly the kind of chaos that attracts them." Shiva pulled up a holographic display from a control panel. If the collective gets all 7 keys and doesn't know how to use them properly, they won't restore the Harmony Station. They'll break the seal completely. And those things, she pointed to the sliding, wrong shapes in the glyphs, they'll come through. Then we stop them, I said. We find the keys first. Shiva looked at my glowing marks again. You said you have coordinates for the 3rd key. Burned into my brain. Can't forget them if I tried. Then we go. She started gathering equipment scattered around the chamber. The collective has been watching this place. They don't know I'm here yet, but they will. We need to move before. Alarms blared through the ruins. Jamie swore and pulled out her scanner. 3 ships dropping out of hyperspace. Collective signatures. They're coming down hot. Of course they were. We couldn't have one peaceful reunion. Everyone back to the Echo, I ordered. Shiva, can you fly in atmosphere? In this cold, I could live here, she grinned, and I saw the friend I remembered beneath the warrior she'd become. I'll run interference, keep them busy while you get airborne. Not alone you won't, Luna said. I didn't come all this way to hide in the ship. Luna. Don't, she cut me off. You're not leaving people behind anymore. We go together or not at all. I looked at Jamie, who shrugged. Echo's got weapons. I can make their landing difficult. Fine, but we don't engage unless we have to. Our priority is getting out with everyone intact. I pulled up the coordinates in my mind, feeling them pulse in time with my marks. We've got a 3rd key to find. We ran. The collective ships hit the ice like meteorites, sending up plumes of frozen debris that glittered in the weak sunlight. 3 of them, all military-grade hunters, already deploying ground forces before they'd fully settled. We sprinted through the ruins, our breath misting in the frigid air. Shiva launched herself skyward, her wings catching the light as she transformed mid-flight. One moment she was running beside us, the next a massive dragon form spiraled upward, scales reflecting starlight like diamonds. The first collective dropship never saw her coming. She hit it from above, ice constructs forming into massive spears that punched through the hull. The ship lurched sideways, engines screaming as it tried to correct. It didn't make it. The dropship carved a trench through the ice, throwing up a wall of frozen shards between us and the other 2 vessels. That's my girl, Jamie muttered, firing her pistol at soldiers spilling from the surviving ships. Echo, activate defensive protocols. We need cover fire in 30 seconds. The Crimson Echo responded with a series of weapon systems powering up. Turrets swiveled, locking onto targets. Move, Luna shouted, her spine rig blazing yellow-orange as she engaged the first wave of soldiers. Her falcons carved through armor like it was paper, the plasma blades leaving molten trails in the frozen air. She fought like she'd taught me, efficient, brutal, no wasted movement. I pressed my hands to the ice, reaching through it to the stone beneath. The cold fought me, made the connection harder, but I forced my way through. The ancient rock remembered violence. It had felt battles before, ages ago when this place was still alive. I pulled. Stone spikes erupted through the ice behind the advancing soldiers, cutting off their reinforcement route. Several stumbled, their formation breaking. Jamie picked off 3 more with precise shots, her exosuit's targeting system making her aim perfect even at this distance. Asmund, we need to go, she called. Shiva roared overhead, banking hard as tracer fire lit up the sky. She was buying us time, but even she couldn't fight 3 ships worth of soldiers alone. We made it to the Echo as more dropships appeared on the horizon. Jamie hit the ramp controls before we were fully inside, the ship already lifting as we scrambled for harnesses. Shiva, I shouted through the comms. I'm right behind you. Her voice was strained. Go, I can catch up in vacuum. Jamie didn't wait. The Echo's engine screamed, and we punched through the atmosphere with collective fighters on our tail. The ship rattled, alarms blaring as weapons fire splashed against our shields. Then Shiva was there, matching our speed in her dragon form, ice forming along her scales from the atmospheric friction. She twisted mid-flight, exhaling a cone of absolute zero that froze one of the pursuit fighters solid. It tumbled away, a crystal sculpture falling back toward the planet. We hit vacuum, and Jamie immediately jumped to hyperspace. The collective didn't follow. They're not chasing, Luna observed, finally releasing her death grip on the cargo netting. Her spine rig pulsed a sickly green. Why aren't they chasing? Because they know where we're going, I said quietly, feeling the third key's coordinates pulse in my mind. They've known all along. The space station hung in the void like a corpse. It had probably been impressive once. A massive research facility judging by the design, with multiple rings and a central hub that reminded me uncomfortably of the Harmony Station glyphs. But time and vacuum had killed it. Sections were torn open, atmosphere long since bled away, power dead. That's where the third key is. Shiva had returned to her humanoid form, now wearing a thermal suit Jamie kept in storage. She still preferred the cold, but even she had limits. I corrected, staring at the station. Something felt wrong. The coordinates in my head were exact, unchanging. They pointed directly to the central hub, but the wrongness made my skin crawl. Something's off. When is something ever not off with you? Luna asked, but she was checking her weapons. She felt it too. We docked at an intact airlock. Jamie stayed with the Echo, ready to undock at a moment's notice. Luna, Shiva, and I went inside in full gear, mag boots keeping us grounded in the zero-G sections. The station was a tomb. We found bodies, or what was left of them, in the corridors. The crew had died fighting something. Blast marks scorched the walls, and some sections showed signs of catastrophic decompression. But it had happened decades ago, maybe longer. Everything was frozen, preserved in vacuum. This wasn't an accident, Luna said, examining a blast pattern. This was an execution professional. The coordinates led us deeper, through sections that became progressively older, more ornate. We passed more glyphs, more warnings. This station had been built around something, built to guard it. The central vault was empty. I stood in the chamber, my marks burning, the coordinates screaming that I was in the right place. There was a pedestal designed exactly like the one on KRL, with the same crystalline housing, the same energy conduits. But no key, just a burn mark where something had been forcibly removed. They took it, I said numbly. The collective took it. When? Shiva was examining the pedestal. This cut is recent, days, maybe a week old. They're ahead of us, Luna growled. They knew where to look before we did. I pressed my marked hands to the pedestal, desperate. Sometimes the keys left echoes, impressions. The second key had shown me its history when I found it. The stone remembered. Visions flooded through me, not from the third key, but from the station itself. I saw the key being removed by soldiers, saw them transporting it away. And I saw something else. Coordinates. The fourth key's location, still undisturbed. And more, a warning. The entity the keys held back was stirring, sensing the seals weakening. Each key taken from its appointed place made the barrier thinner. Asmund, Shiva's hand on my shoulder pulled me back. I know where the fourth key is, I gasped. We can still beat them there. Are you sure? Luna demanded. The station showed me, it's still there, still waiting. I turned toward the exit. but we need to move now. We made it back to the Echo in record time. Jamie had the coordinates plugged in before I finished explaining, and we jumped immediately. But the collective was faster. The world that held the fourth key was a nightmare. Volcanic storms raged across the surface, and the air was thick with ash and sulfur. But there were ruins here too, massive structures built into the mountainsides, protected from the elements by ancient technology that still functioned despite everything. And there were collective ships. 5 of them landed near the largest structure. "They're already inside," Jamie reported, scanning the area. "Heavy force, military vehicles, probably 30 soldiers minimum." "Then we go in quiet," I said. "Luna, you're with me. Shiva, guard the ship with Jamie. If this goes wrong, you two get out." "Absolutely not," Shiva said. "She's right," Luna agreed. "Stupid plan. We all go or we fight our way through." I wanted to argue, but the coordinates were burning in my skull, and I could feel something else now. The fourth key, close enough that my existing marks resonated with it. It was active. Someone was trying to bond with it. "Fine, all of us, but quiet until we can't be." We weren't quiet for long. The collective had fortified the entrance, but they'd positioned their forces for an external threat. They didn't expect us to come through the volcanic vents. I phased through solid rock, holding my breath until my lungs burned, then emerged in a side chamber. The others followed through the passage I'd widened, and we moved deeper into the complex. That's when I saw him. Alex stood in the central chamber, his hand extended toward a floating crystal that pulsed with golden light. He looked older than I remembered, harder. Scars traced his face and hands. 3 years had changed him as much as they'd changed me. "Hello, cousin," he said without turning around. "Took you long enough." "Step away from the key," I said, stone already forming along my arms. "Why? Because you want it." He finally turned, and his eyes glowed with an amber light I'd never seen before. "I've been studying these, Asmund, learning their secrets while you were playing survivor on that backwater rock. Did you know they respond to will, to ambition? You treat them like sacred relics. I treat them like tools." "They're not tools," Shiva said, ice forming around her hands. "They're seals. You use them wrong and you'll kill everyone." "According to ancient warnings left by a dead civilization," Alex smiled. "What if they were lying? What if the keys don't seal anything? What if they're weapons?" He reached for the crystal. I moved without thinking, surfing across the stone floor, covering the distance in seconds. My fist, coated in granite, caught him in the ribs and sent him sprawling. The crystal pulsed, responding to both of us. Then his soldiers poured in, and everything went to hell. Luna engaged immediately, her falcons singing through the air. Shiva transformed partially, wings and tail manifesting as she fought in her hybrid form, ice constructs impaling soldiers before they could fire. Jamie appeared at the entrance, her cloak billowing as she dropped 3 attackers with precise shots. I fought my way to the crystal, dodging weapon fire, raising stone walls to protect my team. Alex met me there, and his hands were glowing now, amber energy crackling between his fingers. "You don't even know what you're carrying," he snarled, and power exploded from his palms. It felt like being hit by a planet. I flew backward, smashing through a stone pillar. Pain bloomed in my ribs. Something was broken, maybe several things. I tried to rise, but my legs wouldn't cooperate. Alex advanced on me, amber light surrounding him like a cloak. The collective found something better than the keys. We found the source, and when I take yours, I'll have 3 paths to power instead of 1. He raised his hand, energy building. Then Luna was there, both falcons crossed, taking the blast meant for me. Her spine rig flared white-hot, overloading as it channeled the energy away. She screamed but held her ground. "Get him out," she gritted through clenched teeth. "Now." Shiva grabbed me, ice forming a protective cocoon as Jamie laid down covering fire. We retreated through the chaos, leaving the fourth key behind, leaving Alex victorious. The last thing I saw before we phased through the rock was Alex's hand closing around the crystal. It didn't bond with him. He wasn't trying to bond. He was taking it, containing it. And in that moment of contact, the fourth key's knowledge burned into my mind. The location of the fifth key, searing itself into my consciousness like a brand. We made it back to the Echo, barely. Jamie flew like a demon, evading pursuit through the volcanic storms. My vision swam, blood soaking through my jacket. Something had torn inside when Alex hit me, something important. Luna was burned, her spine rig smoking and offline. Shiva worked on both of us with ice that was somehow warm, using her healing abilities to keep us alive. "The fifth key," I gasped. "I know where it is." "Shut up," Shiva said, tears streaming down her face. "Just shut up and let me work." "He's right though," Luna managed, her voice weak. "We can't stop. The collective has 2 keys now, maybe 3. We stop, we lose." Jamie's voice came over the intercom, steady despite everything. "Then we don't stop. But first, we're finding somewhere safe to patch you 2 up properly. Asmund, I'm going to need those coordinates when you're not bleeding out." I closed my eyes, feeling the fifth key's location pulse in my mind alongside the others. We'd lost this round. Alex had 2 keys now, or at least access to them. The collective was ahead. But we were still in this fight. And I had something they didn't. I had people who would take a blast meant for me, who would face down impossible odds because they chose to, not because they were ordered. That had to count for something. "The fifth key is in the Nebula Vale," I said before unconsciousness took me. "Ship Graveyard. We go there next." Darkness swallowed me, but I could still feel my marks burning. 2 keys bound to me, showing me the way forward. We'd find the fifth key. We'd stop Alex and the collective. We had to. The entities came through the cracks first. I watched the seals buckle and break, reality bending like heated glass. 7 points of light flickered and died one by one, and with each death, the barrier thinned. The things on the other side weren't creatures exactly. They were hunger given form, chaos that devoured order, darkness that consumed light. One of them saw me, recognized the marks on my hands. It launched itself forward, and I couldn't move, couldn't breathe, couldn't. I jerked awake with a gasp that felt like drowning in reverse. The medbay lights were dim, set to night cycle. Luna lay in the bed next to mine, still unconscious but breathing steady. Her spine rig had been removed for repairs, leaving her looking smaller somehow, vulnerable in a way I'd never seen. My ribs ached, but the sharp pain was gone. I touched my side carefully, feeling the medical wrap beneath my shirt. Shiva's healing ice had probably saved my life, but even dragon magic needed time to finish the job. The dream clung to me like oil. I could still feel that thing's attention, could still see the seals breaking. Was it just a nightmare? Or had the keys shown me something real, something that would happen if we failed? I kept it to myself. The others had enough to worry about. The medbay door slid open and Jamie entered, carrying 2 cups of something that smelled like engine fuel trying to pass as coffee. She looked tired, dark circles under her eyes that hadn't been there before. "You're awake," she said, handing me one of the cups. "How do you feel?" Like I got hit by a shuttle, I sipped the coffee. It tasted exactly as bad as it smelled. How long was I out? 18 hours. Luna woke up about 6 hours ago, demanded a status report, then passed out again when Shiva told her she needed more rest. Jamie sat on the edge of my bed, her exosuit making small adjustment noises. We're in hyperspace, 3 days out from the Nebula Veil. I nodded, trying to organize my thoughts. The fifth key's location pulsed in my mind, steady as a heartbeat. Give me the full situation. What happened after I blacked out? Jamie's expression darkened. Alex got away with the fourth key. We tried to track him, but collective ships jumped in and covered his retreat. Shiva counts at least 7 ships in their fleet now, all military grade. She paused. Your cousin's family isn't working alone anymore. They got resources, a smund, serious backing. The collective has 2 keys now, I said quietly. The third and fourth, maybe more if they found others before we started looking. Shiva doesn't think so. She says we'd know if they had more, the keys. They resonate with each other or something. You'd feel it. Jamie stood and moved to the viewport, staring out at the blue-white tunnel of hyperspace. But yeah, they're ahead of us. And whatever Alex did to himself, whatever that amber energy was, it's not natural. Shiva's been researching it. The door opened again and Shiva herself appeared, her white hair pulled back and a data pad in her hands. She looked relieved to see me awake. You shouldn't be up yet, she said, but there was no real force behind it. I'm fine, Jamie was filling me in. I gestured to the pad. You found something. Shiva exchanged a glance with Jamie, then sat down in one of the medbay chairs. While I was investigating those ruins on the ice planet, I found records, old ones from before the Harmony Station fell. There was a council that oversaw the key bearers, scholars who understood how the seals worked. She pulled up a hologram from the pad, showing text in a language I couldn't read. One of those scholars survived the collapse. His name was Keithran Void, and according to these records, he took his research and went into hiding. Let me guess, I said. He's working with the collective now. Leading them, Shiva corrected. I cross-referenced the timeline. The collective formed about 50 years ago, right when Keithran would have emerged from wherever he'd been hiding. They're not just treasure hunters, a smund. They know exactly what the keys are and what they can do. That explained a lot. How they'd known to come to KRL, how they'd found the third key before us, how they'd been waiting at the volcanic world. So what does he want? I asked. If he knows the seals have to stay intact, why is he collecting the keys? Maybe he thinks he can control what comes through, Jamie suggested. Use it as a weapon. Or maybe he doesn't believe the warnings, Shiva said. He's been alive for hundreds of years. Dragons age slowly, but Keithran's species lives even longer. He watched the Harmony Station fall. Maybe he thinks he can rebuild it differently. Better. Luna stirred in her bed, groaning. Or maybe he's just crazy. Powerful people usually are. I hadn't realized she was awake. She sat up slowly, wincing as her muscles protested. Without her spine rig, every movement looked painful. How's the rig? I asked. Fried, she said flatly. Jamie's working on it, but it'll take time. That energy blast wasn't normal. Whatever Alex hit us with, it was designed to overload tech. She swung her legs off the bed, testing her weight. I can still fight, just not as fast. You need rest, Shiva started. What I need is to make sure we don't lose another key. Luna's voice was sharp, but I knew her well enough to hear the fear underneath. She'd nearly died protecting me. That kind of close call changed your perspective. So what's the plan? We're going to this Nebula Veil place. Then what? I looked at my hands, at the marks that glowed faintly even in the medbay lights. 2 keys bound to me, their knowledge burning in my mind. The 5th key is in a ship graveyard. Old battlefield from some war that happened before any of us were born. The coordinates point to a specific wreck, something called the Hell's Hope. A ship graveyard in a nebula, Jamie said. Perfect. Limited visibility, lots of debris, probably unstable radiation. Great place for an ambush. The collective will be there, Luna agreed. They've been ahead of us every time, they'll be waiting. Then we need to be smarter. I stood carefully, testing my ribs. The pain was manageable. Shiva, you said the keys resonate with each other. Can you use that? Track if the collective is already there before we arrive. She considered it. Maybe. Your marks are getting stronger as you get closer to other keys. If Alex is there with his captured keys, you should feel it before we drop out of hyperspace. And if he is there, Luna asked. We go in anyway, I said. But we go in ready. Jamie, what's our weapons situation? Better than it was. I picked up supplies on the last station we stopped at while you two were unconscious. We've got enough firepower to punch through a small fleet. She grinned, and for a moment she looked like the girl I'd grown up with before everything went wrong. I've also been modifying the Echo's stealth systems. We can't stay invisible forever, but we can ghost in close enough to get boots on the ground before they spot us. I can provide covering fire from above, Shiva offered. My dragon form is built for void combat, and my ice constructs work even better in vacuum. I looked at the three of them, these people who'd risked everything for me. Luna, who'd taken a blast that should have killed her. Jamie, who'd spent 3 years searching when anyone else would have given up. Shiva, who'd joined a quest that wasn't hers because she believed it mattered. The entities from my dream flashed through my mind. The hunger, the chaos, the seals breaking one by one. We can't lose this one, I said quietly. 2 keys in collective hands is bad. 3 would be catastrophic. We get to the Hell's Hope first, we secure the 5th key, and we get out before Alex even knows we were there. And if we can't, Luna asked. Then we fight, and we win. I touched my ribs again, feeling the ache. Because the alternative is letting that scholar and my cousin break something they don't understand, and I've seen what happens if they succeed. They didn't ask how I'd seen it. Maybe they assumed I meant the visions from the keys. Maybe they just didn't want to know. We spent the next 2 days preparing. Jamie ran combat drills in the cargo bay, pushing us to work as a unit. Luna practiced fighting without her spine rig, adapting her style to compensate for the lost speed and strength. Shiva alternated between healing sessions and meditation, centering herself for the battle ahead. I trained alone mostly, pushing my powers, testing the limits of what 2 keys could do when used together. The first key resonated with harmony, with connection. The second with protection, with boundaries. Used separately, they were powerful. But when I channeled them together, something else emerged. A balance. The ability to sense not just minerals and stone, but the structure of things, the patterns that held reality together. It scared me. This much power shouldn't belong to one person, especially not an 18-year-old half-breed who'd spent the last 3 years just trying to survive. But the keys had chosen me, both of them, and I'd be damned if I let them fall into the wrong hands. On the 3rd day, we dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Nebula Veil. The graveyard stretched before us like a metal forest. Thousands of ships, maybe tens of thousands, all dead and drifting. Some were intact, preserved by the vacuum. Others were torn apart, scattered across kilometers of space. The nebula itself glowed a sickly green, radiation painting everything with an eerie light. Scanners are barely working, Jamie reported from the pilot's seat. Too much interference from the nebula. We're flying half-blind. I closed my eyes, reaching out with my marks. The 5th key was there, deeper in the graveyard, its presence like a beacon only I could see. And something else, something familiar. "He's here," I said. "Alex, maybe a day ahead of us. He's already searching." "Then we don't have much time," Luna said, checking her falx. Jamie engaged the stealth systems, and we slipped into the graveyard, moving between the dead ships like a ghost. The Hell's Hope waited somewhere ahead. And so did my cousin, armed with stolen keys and the backing of someone who'd watched civilization fall. This time I promised myself we wouldn't lose. This time we'd be ready. The Hell's Hope floated dead in space, its hull cracked open like a broken rib cage. We'd been navigating through the graveyard for 3 hours, dodging debris and using the nebula's radiation as cover. My marks pulsed steadily, growing stronger with each kilometer. "That's it," I said, pointing to the derelict cruiser. "The key's inside." Jamie brought the Crimson Echo alongside, matching the wreck's slow spin. No signs of collective ships. Maybe we actually beat them here. "Don't count on it," Luna muttered, gripping her falx. Without her spine rig, she looked tense, coiled like a spring. Lucky breaks don't happen to people like us. Shiva was silent, her eyes scanning the darkness. In the green glow of the nebula, her scales looked almost ghostly. "I don't sense anyone nearby, but Asmund, you need to hurry. If Alex is searching this graveyard, he'll find this ship eventually." We suited up and crossed through the airlock. The Hell's Hope's interior was a tomb of frozen corridors and floating debris. Emergency lights still flickered in some sections, powered by ancient batteries that refused to die. I led the way, following the pull of the key. It drew me deeper, past crew quarters where bodies still drifted, past a bridge where navigation screens displayed star charts from a war no one remembered. Finally, we reached what looked like a vault, its door half melted. "Someone tried to break in," Jamie observed, running her hand along the scarred metal. "But they didn't make it." I placed my marked hands on the door. The metal responded immediately, recognizing the keys already bound to me. The vault opened with a groan that vibrated through my boots. The 5th key waited inside, suspended in a stasis field that flickered and sparked. Unlike the others, this one had no skeleton, no remains, just the crystal, alone in the dark. "Why isn't there a bearer?" Luna asked. "Maybe they evacuated," Shiva suggested. "Took the key to safety but died before they could return." I stepped forward, reaching for the crystal. The moment my fingers touched it, the vision hit. I stood on the observation deck of a station spinning slowly in the gravity well of a black hole. Not just any black hole, a supermassive one, its event horizon stretching across half the viewport. The station was ancient, built by the same civilization that created the Harmony Station. Research facility. They'd been studying the black hole's effects on dimensional barriers. The 6th key was there, in a laboratory deep in the station's core, protected by systems that had run for thousands of years, powered by the black hole's radiation. But the vision showed me something else too. The barriers were weakening, cracks spreading through reality like ice breaking under weight. Every key the collective captured made it worse. If they got the 6th key, if they got all 7, the entities would come through, and no one would be able to stop them. I gasped as the vision released me. The crystal pulsed once, then sank into my chest, merging with the others. My left forearm lit up with new marks joining the patterns already there. 3 keys now, 3 out of 7. The power surge nearly knocked me over. Luna caught me, steadying me until the world stopped spinning. "We need to move," I managed. "Now." We didn't run, we flew. Jamie had us back on the Echo in minutes, engines firing before we'd even finished strapping in. As we cleared the Hell's Hope, I saw them. 3 collective ships dropping out of hyperspace at the graveyard's edge. "They're scanning," Jamie said, her fingers dancing over the controls. "Stealth systems holding, but barely." We slipped between 2 destroyed battleships, using their hulls as cover. I watched through the viewport as the collective ships moved deeper into the graveyard, searching for what we'd already taken. Alex was on one of those ships. I could feel him now, the resonance of the stolen keys pulling at the ones I carried. He'd know I was close, but the Nebula's interference and Jamie's modifications kept us hidden just long enough. We made the jump to hyperspace seconds before their scanners would have found us. In the aftermath, I sat in the cargo bay staring at my marked arms. 3 keys. The knowledge they carried pressed against my mind like a weight. I knew where the 6th key was now. I knew what would happen if we failed. "You look like you're about to throw up," Luna said, sitting beside me. She moved carefully, still healing. "The 6th key," I said quietly. "It's near a super black hole. There's a research station thousands of years old. That's where we have to go next." Luna was quiet for a moment. "A black hole, great, just keeps getting easier." Despite everything, I almost smiled. "We need supplies first. Medical gear, equipment. The kind of radiation near a black hole will need serious protection." "There's a trade station 2 days from here," Jamie called from the cockpit. "Neutron's Rest. Not exactly legal, but they'll have what we need. And they don't ask questions." Neutron's Rest orbited a dying star, a collection of modules and docking bays held together by docking clamps and hope. We landed without incident, and while Jamie negotiated for supplies, the rest of us found a quiet corner in the station's main hub. Shiva spread a hologram of the black hole system across the table. "This is Vorenus 7, supermassive black hole, 3.2 million times our sun's mass. The research station orbits at the innermost stable point. Any closer and the gravity would tear it apart." "How do we even get there?" Luna asked. "If it's been abandoned for thousands of years, what's keeping it running?" "The station draws power from the black hole itself," I explained, the knowledge from the key unfolding in my mind. "Harvesting radiation from the accretion disk. It's completely automated. The scientists who built it knew the keys needed protection that would last." "But if we can get in, so can Alex," Luna pointed out. I nodded. "That's why we can't waste time. We go in, get the key, get out, no detours." Jamie returned with crates of supplies. Radiation suits, medical kits, ammunition. Spent most of our credits, but were stocked. The vendor mentioned something interesting though. Collective ships have been asking about routes to Vorenus 7. They're moving. Of course they were. Alex had probably gotten the same vision I did when he failed to find the 5th key. We were in a race now, and the finish line was a black hole. We jumped within the hour. Vorenus 7 dominated the viewport when we arrived. The black hole itself was invisible, but its accretion disk blazed like a malevolent eye, matter spiraling inward at relativistic speeds. The radiation readings made Jamie's instrument scream. "I'm reading the station," she said, "but there's something else. Collective ships, 4 of them already docked." "Alex beat us here," Luna said flatly. "Then we fight our way in." I stood, checking my gear. The 3 keys thrummed with power, responding to the proximity of their sibling. "Shiva, can you provide interference? Keep their ships busy while we infiltrate the station." "Consider it done." Her form shimmered, scales spreading as she began her transformation. Jamie brought us in fast, using the accretion disk's glare as cover. Shiva launched from the airlock in full dragon form, ice constructs forming around her like an arsenal. She hit the first collective ship with a barrage that sent it spinning. We docked on the station's far side, cutting through an emergency airlock. The interior was pristine, maintained by systems that had forgotten their creators were dead. We moved through corridors lined with laboratories and observation rooms, following the pull of the key. Alarms started blaring. We'd been detected. "Go," Luna shouted, taking up a rear guard position. "I'll hold them off." Jamie and I ran, the key's location burning in my mind. We burst into the central lab just as Alex emerged from the opposite entrance. He looked different. More marks on his skin, amber energy crackling around him like lightning. He'd bonded with the keys he'd stolen, forcing connections that should have been impossible. "Cousin," he said, his voice distorted, "you're persistent, but you're too late." The sixth key floated behind him in a containment field. He reached for it. I didn't think, I acted. Stone erupted from the floor, a wall between him and the key. Jamie fired, her shots forcing him back. I vaulted the wall I'd created, my hand closing around the crystal. The bond formed instantly. The sixth key recognized the others, welcomed them. Power flooded through me, and for a moment I saw everything. All 7 keys, their locations, their purpose. The last one was hidden in a place called the Shattered Crown, a fortress at the edge of known space. But I also saw what Alex had done to himself. The forced bonds were killing him, eating him from the inside. The amber energy was corruption, a perversion of what the keys were meant to be. He screamed, feeling the sixth key slip away. His power lashed out, and I barely raised a stone shield in time. The blast shattered it, throwing me backward. Jamie grabbed me, hauling me toward the exit. Luna appeared, her falx blazing as she cut down collective soldiers. We ran through corridors that groaned under gravitational stress, the station's orbit decaying as Alex's rage destabilized its systems. Shiva caught us at the airlock, already in flight. We piled into the Echo and Jamie punched the engines. Behind us, the research station began its final spiral toward the event horizon. Alex's voice came through our comms, raw with fury. "You can't win, Asmund. I'll tear the galaxy apart to get those keys. You hear me? I'll burn everything." Then the black hole's gravity cut the signal, and we were away, jumping to hyperspace with the sixth key safe and Alex screaming into the void behind us. In the cargo bay afterward, I looked at my arms. 6 marks now, glowing softly. 1 key remained, and the collective, led by a scholar who'd watched civilization fall and my cousin consumed by stolen power, would do anything to claim it. But so would we. "The Shattered Crown," I said to the others. "That's where the 7th key is hidden, a fortress at the edge of known space." "Then that's where we go," Jamie said simply. Luna nodded, gripping her repaired spine rig. "Together." Shiva smiled, fierce and determined. "For everyone who can't fight, we end this." I looked at the 3 of them, my found family, and felt something settle in my chest. Not peace exactly, but purpose. The Harmony Station had fallen once. It wouldn't fall again. Not while we still had breath in our bodies and the keys recognized us as worthy. The final key waited, and we would claim it no matter what stood in our way. The coordinates for the shattered crown led us to a sector of space I'd never heard of. 3 days of hyperspace travel, and when we finally dropped out, there was nothing but emptiness. "Are you sure we got the coordinates right?" Jamie asked, running another scan. "I'm not picking up anything. No stations, no debris, not even an asteroid." I pressed my hand against the viewport, feeling the 3 marks pulse in rhythm with my heartbeat. "It's here. I can feel it." Shiva moved beside me, her eyes narrowed as she studied the starfield. "Wait, look there." She pointed to a region where the stars seemed to shimmer slightly, like heat waves on a desert horizon. "Cloaking Field," Luna said. She'd been quiet since we'd left Vorenus 7, spending most of her time in the cargo bay recalibrating her spine rig. The repair job Jamie had done was solid, but Luna didn't trust it yet. "Military grade. Old military grade." Jamie adjusted our heading, bringing us closer to the distortion. "I'm broadcasting standard greeting protocols. If someone's home, maybe they'll." The space in front of us moved. It wasn't a shimmer anymore. The stars twisted, folded, and something massive began to materialize. At first I thought it was a fortress, all angular plates and defensive towers. But as more of it became visible, I realized the plates weren't metal. They were scales. Enormous scales, each one the size of the Crimson Echo. "Is that?" Shiva's voice trailed off, her expression caught between awe and disbelief. "A ship," I finished. "No, not just a ship, it's alive." The shattered crown stretched before us, kilometers of organic armor and crystalline structures growing from its surface like coral on a reef. I could see what might have been sensor arrays, or maybe they were eyes. Docking ports that looked more like gills. Weapons emplacements that could have been teeth. "It's breathing," Luna whispered. "Look at the hull, it's expanding and contracting." She was right. The whole thing pulsed with slow, steady rhythm, a living fortress drifting in the void, cloaked and waiting. Jamie's hands hovered over the controls. Should I try to dock, or?" Before anyone could answer, a voice filled the cabin. It didn't come from the comms. It came from everywhere at once, vibrating through the ship's hull and into my bones. "Who carries the keys?" The marks on my arms blazed white-hot. I gasped, stumbling backward. Shiva caught me before I fell. "Asmund carries them," she called out. 3 keys freely given and bonded." Silence. Then the voice spoke again, softer this time. 3. After all this time, 3 have returned. Bearer, approach. The crown will receive you." One of the docking ports dilated open, revealing a tunnel lined with what looked like bioluminescent tissue. Jamie glanced at me, and I nodded. She guided us in carefully, like threading a needle with the ship. The docking clamps that secured the Echo were warm and flexible, more like fingers than metal. When we opened the airlock, the air that greeted us was breathable, slightly humid, and smelled like ozone and growing things. "Everyone stays together," I said, pulling on my breathing mask even though I probably didn't need it. "Old habits. Luna, you take rear guard. Shiva, stay close. Jamie." "Already on it," she said, her hand resting on her sidearm. "I've got your back, Rune." The interior of the shattered crown was nothing like any ship I'd been on. The corridors were oval, lined with walls that glowed faintly from within. Veins of crystal ran through them like blood vessels, pulsing with light that matched the rhythm of the ship's breathing. The floor felt almost spongy under my boots, adapting to each step. We followed the corridor because there was nowhere else to go. It curved and branched, but every time I hesitated, the marks on my arms would warm, guiding me forward. The ship wanted me to find something. After maybe 20 minutes of walking, we emerged into a chamber so vast I couldn't see the ceiling. Crystal formations jutted from the floor like trees in a forest, each one glowing with internal light. And at the center, suspended in a web of organic cables and crystalline threads, was a figure. Humanoid but barely. Tall and thin, with skin that looked like it had been carved from pale stone. Armor grew from their body, not worn but part of them, covered in glyphs that matched the ones on my hands. Their eyes were closed, their chest rising and falling in slow, shallow breaths. "Is that?" Luna started. "The seventh bearer," I said. The knowledge came from the keys flooding my mind. "The guardian of the shattered crown. They've been in stasis, waiting." "Waiting for the keys to wake them," the voice said. It came from the walls, from the crystal formations, from the guardian themselves. "I am the crown. I am the ship. I am the guardian. We are one." I approached slowly, feeling the pull of the seventh key. It wasn't in a crystal or a container. It was in the guardian, merged with their body in a way I'd never seen before. "Can you wake them?" I asked. "We need the seventh key. The collective already has 2, and they're coming for the rest." The crystal formations pulsed brighter. "The collective? Yes. We have felt them searching, felt the disturbance in the seal. The hunger beyond grows stronger. The bearer sleeps because to wake without all keys present risks breaking their bond." "But Asmund has 3, Shiva said, stepping forward. "If he bonds with all 7th, won't that complete the set?" "The 7th key is different," the crown said. "It does not bond to flesh alone. It requires unity. All 7 bearers must stand together, or the seal cannot be restored. One bearer with all 7 keys would burn like a star and die as quickly." I felt cold despite the warm air. "Then what do we do? We can't restore the Harmony Station without all 7 keys, but I can't carry them all." Luna crossed her arms, her tail flicking in agitation. "So we need to find 6 other bearers, while the collective is hunting us. That's impossible." "Not impossible," the crown corrected. "Difficult, dangerous, but necessary. The first bearer is here. The second waits in stasis on the station Asmund has seen in his visions. The keys will guide you to the others, but time grows short. The collective's stolen key weakens the seal with each day. If they claim more, the entities will break through." Jamie was pacing now, her mind working through the logistics. "Okay, so we need to recruit more bearers. That means we need to split up, cover more ground." "No," I said immediately. "We stay together. Rune, we don't have time to visit every location sequentially." Jamie's voice was gentle but firm. "The collective has resources we don't. Ships, soldiers, Alex. If we're going to beat them, we need to move fast." Luna turned to me, her red eyes intense. "She's right. I don't like it either, but one team could go after the second bearer while another scouts the collective's stronghold. We need intelligence if we're going to fight them." "And what if we get separated again?" I shot back. The memory of 3 years alone on KRL still haunted me. What if the collective ambushes one team and we can't help? "Then we fight," Luna said simply. "Asmund, I trained you. Jamie's been fighting her whole life. Shiva's a dragon. We're not helpless children. We can handle ourselves." "The Guardian speaks truth," the crown said. "Unity does not mean always being in the same place. It means trusting the bond between you." I wanted to argue more, but Shiva's hand on my shoulder stopped me. "Asmund," she said quietly, "we all chose to be here. Let us choose how we fight." I looked at each of them. Jamie, who'd spent 3 years fixing her ship and searching for me. Luna, who'd saved my life more times than I could count. Shiva, who'd left her royal life behind to help stop an interdimensional threat. They weren't kids, they weren't helpless, and they were right. "All right," I said, hating the words even as I spoke them. We split into 2 teams. but we set up regular check-ins, and if anyone misses one, the other team drops everything and comes running. Jamie nodded. Agreed, so who goes where? Before you divide your strength, the Crown interrupted, you must first wake the Guardian. They will need time to adjust before they can fight, and there is something you must know about the Harmony Station's true purpose. The chamber's crystals blazed brighter and images formed in the light. I saw the Harmony Station as it had been, 7 bearers standing in a circle, their keys active and joined. But they weren't just sealing away entities. They were maintaining a barrier between dimensions, yes, but also acting as a filter, allowing safe passage for some beings while keeping the predators out. It wasn't a weapon, I breathed. It was a door, a controlled door. Yes, many species relied on it for trade, for travel, for refuge. When it fell, entire civilizations were cut off. Others were left vulnerable to the predators. The keys were scattered not to hide them, but because the bearers died trying to hold the seal as long as they could. Each key contains the last bearer's will, their hope that someone would come to finish what they started. The weight of that settled over all of us. This wasn't just about stopping the collective or preventing an invasion. It was about restoring something the galaxy had lost, about reopening doors that had been closed for millennia. How do we wake them? I asked, gesturing to the sleeping Guardian. The Crown pulsed, and the cables holding the Guardian began to retract. Their body lowered slowly until their feet touched the ground. The glyphs on their armor matched the ones on my arms so perfectly it was eerie. Place your marked hands on their chest. Let the keys recognize their sibling. The bond will do the rest. I stepped forward, Luna and Shiva flanking me in case this was a trap. But as soon as my palms touched the Guardian's armor, warmth flooded through me. The 6 keys I carried resonated, humming in harmony with the 7th still sleeping in the Guardian's body. The Guardian's eyes opened. They were silver, glowing faintly, and ancient beyond measure. The keys, they whispered, their voice like wind through stone. You found them 3, after so long. Who are you? I asked. I am Kale, they said, their voice growing stronger as awareness returned. Last guardian of the shattered crown, bearer of the 7th key, and I have waited 3,000 years for someone to come. Kale stepped away from the cables, testing their limbs as if remembering how to move. The armor shifted with them, flowing like water before settling back into place. The collective, Kale said. I heard the Crown speaking of them. They have 2 keys. Yes, I confirmed. My cousin, Alex, he bonded with 2 of them by force. It's killing him, but he's too far gone to stop. Kale's expression darkened. Forced bonds, abomination. The keys choose their bearers for a reason. To force the connection is to invite madness and corruption. They turned to study me, then the others. You 3 are not bearers, yet you stand with him. Why? Because it's the right thing to do, Luna said flatly, and because we're family. Something in Kale's ancient eyes softened. Family, yes, that is what the bearers were once, not by blood but by choice. Perhaps that bond will be enough to succeed where we failed. The awakening is complete, the Crown said, but I must warn you. The collective has located this place. They are 3 days away, perhaps less. You must decide quickly how to proceed. Jamie pulled up a hologram from her wrist computer. All right, here's what I'm thinking. 1 team takes the Echo and goes after the 2nd bearer. The coordinates Asmund has are for a medical station in the Helios Drift. The other team stays here with the Crown and prepares defenses. When the collective arrives, we make them fight for every inch. Or, Luna countered, 1 team goes to the collective's main base and sabotages it. Destroy their ability to chase us. Buy time for the other team to gather more bearers. Both plans had merit, both had massive risks, and I had to choose. Kale watched me, silent, waiting to see what kind of leader I would be. The decision to split up felt like tearing myself in half. Jamie and Luna took the Crimson Echo to track down the remaining bearers. Kale gave them coordinates pulled from the Seventh Key's memory, 3 bearers still in stasis, scattered across the galaxy. Meanwhile, Shiva, Kale, and I would use the Shattered Crown itself to intercept the Collective's fleet and retrieve the stolen keys from Alex. I watched the Echo's engines flare as it left the Crown's docking bay, and my chest tightened. 3 years I'd spent alone on KRL. 3 years wondering if I'd ever see Jamie again. And now I was sending her away. "They'll be fine," Shiva said, reading my face. "Luna's tougher than most veteran soldiers, and Jamie can talk or shoot her way out of anything." "I know," I said, "but it didn't make it easier." Kale approached, their ancient armor glowing faintly in the Crown's bioluminescent corridors. "The Collective's fleet will arrive in 32 hours. We should use the time to prepare. The Crown is formidable, but even a living fortress can fall to concentrated fire." "Then we don't let them concentrate their fire," I said. "We hit them first, fast and hard. Can the Crown do that?" The walls pulsed and the Crown's voice filled my mind. "I was built for war, young bearer. I have not forgotten how to fight." The next 30 hours were a blur of preparation. Kale taught me how the keys worked together, how their powers could amplify each other if I focused. The 6th key I'd bonded with wasn't just about knowledge. It let me perceive connections between things, see patterns in chaos. Combined with the 1st key's harmony and the 2nd's protection, I could theoretically create shields that predicted attacks before they happened. Theoretically. In practice, using 3 keys at once made my head feel like it was splitting open. Shiva spent her time communing with the Crown, learning its weapon systems. Turns out, a living fortress has a lot of creative ways to kill things. Crystal cannons that grew from the hull on demand, hull plating that could shift to deflect attacks, and something Shiva called spore mines. Biological bombs the Crown could launch that would latch onto enemy ships and eat through their shields. "Your ancestors were terrifying," I told Kale during one of our training sessions. "They were practical," Kale corrected. "The universe is full of things that want to kill you. Better to have the tools to kill them first." When the Collective fleet dropped out of hyperspace, there were 7 ships. 3 destroyers, 2 carriers, and 2 massive dreadnoughts that looked like they could crack planets. The Crown sensors identified Alex's signature on the lead dreadnought's bridge. "He has grown stronger," the Crown observed. "The stolen keys are burning through him, but he channels their power recklessly. Dangerous." "Can we win this?" I asked. Kale's silver eyes met mine. "We have to." The Crown decloaked directly in the middle of their formation. Before they could react, we fired. Crystal cannons erupted from every surface, spearing through shields and hulls. Spore mines launched in clusters, latching onto the carriers and beginning their work. The Crown moved like a living thing, twisting and rolling to avoid return fire, its scales absorbing hits that should have crippled us. But there were 7 of them and 1 of us, and they adapted fast. "They're targeting the bionodes," Shiva shouted from the weapons console. "If they destroy enough of them, the Crown won't be able to regenerate." I reached out with the 6th key, perceiving the pattern of their attacks. They were coordinating, focusing fire on specific points, trying to cripple us slowly. "Kale, can you get us close to the lead dreadnought?" I asked. "You want to board it?" Kale looked at me like I'd suggested breathing vacuum. "That's suicide." "Alex is in there. So are the stolen keys. If we can take him down, the rest of the fleet might break." Shiva's eyes widened. "Asmund, you can't fight Alex alone. He nearly killed you last time." "I'm stronger now," I said, and it was true. Bonding with 3 keys had changed me. I could feel power humming through my veins, power that made the ground of KRL feel like a distant memory. "And I'm not alone. You're both coming with me." The crown brought us in close, taking heavy fire but using its bulk to shield us. We launched in a boarding pod, more like a living missile that the crown grew and spat at the dreadnought's hull. It punched through armor and shields, depositing us inside before dissolving into nutrient slush. "Disgusting," Shiva muttered, wiping biomatter off her scales. "Effective but disgusting." Alarms screamed around us. We were in a maintenance corridor, but that wouldn't last long. I could feel Alex's presence through the keys, a burning star of corrupted energy somewhere above us. We fought our way through 3 decks. Collective soldiers in powered armor tried to stop us, but Shiva's ice constructs pinned them while Kale moved through their formation like a ghost, their ancient blade finding weak points with surgical precision. I focused on defense, using the 2nd key to throw up barriers that absorbed shots meant for my team. By the time we reached the bridge, my arms were glowing so bright they hurt to look at. Alex was waiting for us. He looked worse than before. The amber energy crackling across his skin had spread, covering half his face. His eyes were solid gold, no pupils, burning with power and madness. The 2 stolen keys had physically merged with his chest, their symbols carved into his flesh. "Cousin," he said, and his voice echoed like he was speaking from far away. "You came to me. How convenient." "It's over, Alex," I said. "The keys are killing you. Let them go before there's nothing left." He laughed and the sound made my teeth ache. "Killing me? They're making me into something more. Something beyond flesh and fear. And when I have all 7, I'll break open the seal myself. Unleash what's inside. Let the strong survive and the weak perish. That's how it should be." "That's insane," Shiva breathed. "Those entities will kill everyone. There won't be strong or weak, just dead." "Then I'll kill the entities too," Alex roared. Energy exploded from him, shattering consoles and throwing crew members against walls. "I'll become the new seal, the new god of this galaxy." I didn't argue anymore. I attacked. 3 keys against 2 stolen ones. My barriers met his wild strikes. His amber blasts shattered against walls I raised from the ship's own hull, my earth powers still strong enough to manipulate metal and alloy. Kale and Shiva tried to flank him, but Alex was fast, faster than he should have been, moving on currents of raw power. The battle spilled across the bridge. I felt Luna and Jamie through the 1st key. They'd found the other bearers, were bringing them to the rendezvous point. We just had to survive long enough to join them. Alex caught Shiva with a blast that sent her through a viewport. Emergency shield slammed down, but she was hurt, her wing bent at a wrong angle. Kale pressed the attack, their blade actually cutting through Alex's energy armor, but he backhanded them into a support column. It was just him and me. "You should have joined me," Alex said, blood running from his nose, his mouth. The keys were killing him, but he didn't care. We could have ruled together, family. "Family doesn't abandon each other. Family doesn't hold prejudice against each other," I said, and reached for all 3 keys at once. The power nearly tore me apart, but I held it, shaped it, and drove it forward like a spear. The barrier I created didn't just protect, it cut, slicing through Alex's defenses and pinning him against the wall. The keys in his chest blazed, fighting back, but they were corrupted, fighting themselves as much as me. I walked forward, my arms burning, and placed my hands on his chest. "I'm sorry," I whispered. The keys recognized their true purpose. They tore free from Alex's body, drawn to my touch, seeking the harmony they'd lost. Alex screamed, a sound of pure agony, and collapsed. Without the key's power sustaining him, his body began to fail. I caught the two crystals as they emerged, feeling their weight, their sorrow. They'd been forced to do terrible things, but they were safe now. Alex looked up at me, his eyes human again, filled with pain and confusion. Asmund, what did I? Then he died. I wanted to feel something, grief, anger, anything, but there wasn't time. The fleet was still out there and we had a station to restore. We barely made it back to the Crown. The collective fleet broke when their flagship went dark, retreating to regroup. By the time Jamie and Luna arrived with the other bearers, we were already plotting coordinates to the Harmony Station's last known location. The other bearers were like Kale, ancient, preserved in stasis, waking to a galaxy they didn't recognize. 3 more of them, each bearing a key, each carrying the weight of millennia. With the 2 stolen keys, we had 7 bearers for 7 keys. The Harmony Station hung in deep space, a ruin of impossible architecture, dormant for thousands of years. As we approached, all 7 keys began to sing, resonating with each other and the station itself. "Positions," Kale commanded. The 7 bearers formed a circle in the station's heart, a chamber that had survived the ages. I stood among them, the youngest by far, feeling the weight of their experience and hope. We activated the keys together. Power flowed between us, creating a web of light. The station began to wake, systems coming online, the seals beginning to reform. I could feel the entities beyond, pressing against reality, but the barrier was holding, strengthening. Then Keithran Void appeared. He walked out of a rift in space itself, an old man in ancient armor, his eyes burning with terrible knowledge. The collective's founder, the one who'd orchestrated everything. "So close," he said, almost sadly. "But you don't understand what you're doing. The seals don't need to be restored. They need to be shattered." He raised his hand, and reality broke. The ritual collapsed, the keys screamed, and the entities poured through. They weren't creatures. They were hunger given form, chaos and entropy, and the death of meaning. They washed over the station like a tide, and the bearers tried to fight, but they were unprepared, caught mid-ritual. One by one they fell. Kale died holding the breach closed for 10 more seconds. The others burned themselves out trying to reseal what Keithran had broken. And as they died, their keys fell free, calling out for someone to carry them. Calling out to me. I didn't think. I just reached out and grabbed them. All 7 keys flooded into me at once, and the pain was beyond description. My body tried to reject them, but I held on, forced them to stay, because if I dropped them now, the entities would claim them. The power of 7 keys burned through me like a star being born. I felt my skin crack, light bleeding through. This should have killed me instantly, but somehow I was still standing. Still alive. Still fighting. Keithran watched me with something like respect. Impossible. No one should be able to hold all 7, but perhaps that's what makes you different. What makes you the one who will finish this, one way or another. Then he vanished, and I was alone with the entities, the dying station, and 7 keys burning inside me like caged suns. Somewhere in the chaos, I heard Jamie screaming my name. The entities were everywhere. They poured through the breach Keithrin had torn in reality, shapes that hurt to look at, sounds that weren't sounds, cold that went deeper than temperature. They washed over the Harmony station like a wave, and everything they touched stopped making sense. Metal turned to dust. Light bent backward. The air itself screamed. I stood at the center of it all, 7 keys burning inside my body, trying to hold myself together. My skin glowed from within, cracks spreading across my arms where the light bled through. It felt like I was being torn apart and rebuilt at the same time, every cell in my body fighting against power it was never meant to contain. Through the chaos, I heard Jamie's voice. Esmond. They were coming, fighting their way through the collapsing station, through the entities coming for me. I wanted to tell them to run, to save themselves, but my voice wouldn't work. The keys were burning too hot, consuming everything I had just to stay standing. Shiva arrived first, her dragon form bulldozing through debris, ice constructs shattering entities that got too close. Jamie was on her back, firing her rifle at anything that moved. Luna sprinted alongside them, her repaired spine rig glowing as she carved through twisted metal and broken reality with her plasma falx. They reached me, forming a protective circle. Shiva shifted back to humanoid form, her scales cracked and bleeding. Jamie's exosuit was scorched black. Luna's face was set in that stubborn expression I'd learned meant she wasn't backing down for anything. "What do we do?" Jamie shouted over the roar of entities and breaking reality. "Tell us what to do." I tried to speak, but blood came up instead. The keys were killing me just like the crown had warned. One person couldn't hold all 7, but if I let them go now, the entities would claim them, use them to tear reality apart completely. Unless, through the pain, through the burning, I felt it. The first key's power, the one I'd bonded with 3 years ago. Harmony, connection. It could create bridges between places, between people. And right now, I needed to create one more bridge. I reached deep, pulling on that power, mixing it with the others. The 6th key showed me the pattern I needed. The 2nd key gave me the strength to hold it stable. Together, they let me tear open a portal. Not to another planet, to Hellion home. The portal opened behind my friends, showing the orange skies and red stone I'd grown up with. The world I'd fled from, the world where all this started. But it was far from here, far from the entities, safe. "No," Luna said immediately, reading my intention. "Don't you dare." "I'm sorry," I managed to say, and my voice sounded wrong, echoed with 7 different tones. "I'm so sorry." I threw them through. Jamie screamed my name as the portal pulled her backward. Shiva fought, wings flaring, but the current was too strong. The power of 7 keys was absolute. They tumbled through the gateway, back to safety, back to life. But Luna dug her claws into the station's floor, her spine rig flaring so bright it hurt to look at. She held on, muscles straining, refusing to let go. The portal tried to take her, but she was stronger than I'd calculated. 3 years of KRL survival, 3 years of training, 3 years of being too stubborn to quit. I said no, she growled, and pulled herself forward against the current. The portal closed. Jamie and Shiva were gone, safe on Hellion. But Luna was still here, standing beside me as reality collapsed around us. "You idiot," I said, or tried to. "You should have gone." "Shut up," Luna said, raising her falx as entities closed in. "We don't have time for your martyr complex. How do we seal this?" I looked at the breach. Keithrin had torn it from inside reality, breaking the seals from their foundation. The station couldn't repair itself, not with the bearers dead, not with the damage this severe. And trying to seal it from out here, from this side, wouldn't work. the entities would just break through again. There was only one way. I had to seal it from inside, from their side of reality. Asmund, Luna said, watching my face. What are you thinking? The breach goes both ways, I said, my voice getting clearer as I accepted what had to happen. I can't seal it from here, but if I go through to where they're coming from, I can use the keys to rebuild the barrier from the other side. That's suicide. It's the only way. Then I'm coming with you. I stared at her. Luna, no, you don't have to. I know I don't have to, she snapped, and there was fire in her eyes, the same fire I'd seen when she first found me crashed on KRL, half dead and alone. I'm choosing to. You spent 3 years on my world. Let me spend however long we have left on yours. This isn't my world. This is the space between, the void. Then we'll make it ours. An entity lunged at us. I threw up a barrier that shattered it into light and screaming. But more were coming, always more. The station groaned, tearing itself apart. We were out of time. I grabbed Luna's hand. Her scales were rough against my cracked skin, solid and real. Stay close, I said. Don't let go. Never. We ran toward the breach. It was a wound in space, a tear that showed what lay beyond reality. Not darkness, worse than darkness. A place where light existed but had no meaning, where time moved in directions that shouldn't exist. The entity's home, the space between dimensions. We jumped through together. The transition felt like being unmade. For a moment, I wasn't a Asmund Rune anymore. I wasn't half human, half elemental. I wasn't anything. Just scattered pieces floating in a void that wanted to pull me apart and swallow what remained. But Luna's hand was still in mine. That connection, that anchor, held me together long enough for the keys to remember what I was supposed to be. They rebuilt me, cell by cell, pulling me back into shape. When I could see again, we were standing on nothing. The void stretched forever around us, full of entities that circled like sharks, kept at bay only by the light pouring from my body. Behind us, the breach showed the Harmony Station, the galaxy, everything we'd left behind. I could see Jamie and Shiva on Hellion through the portal I'd sent them through. Jamie was screaming, trying to open a way back. Shiva was crying, ice spreading from her hands in grief and rage. But they were alive. They would survive. Now what? Luna asked. Her voice sounded strange here, echoed and distant. Now I seal it, I said. I raised my hands and the 7 keys responded. Power flowed from me in waves, light and force and will-given form. The keys sang together, harmonizing for the first time since the station fell. They remembered their purpose, remembered what they were built to do. Protect, contain, maintain the boundary between what is and what should never be. The breach began to close. I felt reality knitting back together, the seals reforming stronger than before. The entities howled, pushing back, trying to keep the wound open. But 7 keys were absolute. 7 keys were enough. The Harmony Station blazed with light as its systems came fully online, powered by the keys' reunion. The seals slammed into place one by one, 7 barriers overlapping, 7 locks clicking shut. The breach contracted, growing smaller and smaller. Luna stood beside me, her hand still in mine, watching our only exit shrink. Asmund, she said quietly, we can't get back through that, can we? No, I admitted. Once it's sealed. Nothing gets through, not them. I gestured at the entities circling us. Not us either. So we're trapped here. Yeah. She was quiet for a moment. Then she squeezed my hand tighter. Good thing I like your company. I laughed and it hurt, but it was real. You're insane. says the kid who ate rocks for power-ups. The breach was almost closed now, just a pinprick of light showing the galaxy beyond. I could see the collective fleet retreating, their leader gone, their purpose shattered. I could see the station stabilizing, beginning to repair itself. I could see the beginnings of safety, of peace. Worth it. The light from the keys spread out from my body, forming a sphere around Luna and me. The entities couldn't penetrate it. They tried, slamming against the barrier, but 7 keys were stronger than their hunger. We'd be safe here in this bubble of light for as long as the keys lasted. Which, according to the knowledge flooding my mind from the 6th key, was a very long time. "Hey Luna," I said as the breach sealed with a final flash of light, cutting us off from everything we'd known. "Thank you for everything, for training me, for staying, for being here at the end." "This isn't the end," Luna said firmly. She looked around at the void, at the endless nothing, and her spine rig pulsed with determination. "This is just a really weird new beginning. And who knows, maybe there's a way back. You've got 7 keys of ultimate cosmic power. I've got a plasma falx and a bad attitude. We'll figure something out." I wanted to believe her. And looking at her face, seeing that stubborn refusal to give up that had kept me alive on KRL, I realized maybe I did. The galaxy was safe. The seals would hold. My friends would live. And Luna and I were together, standing against the dark, burning with light that wouldn't fade. Not the ending I'd imagined when I touched that first crystal 3 years ago. But maybe, just maybe, not the ending either. Just a new chapter in a very long story. The entities howled around us, and Luna raised her falx, grinning like the universe's biggest challenge had just landed in her lap. "So," she said, "wanna go exploring? I've always wondered what else lives in the spaces between reality." I felt the keys settle inside me, their power becoming part of who I was. 7 seals, 7 keys, 7 chances to protect everything I loved. I smiled back at her. "Yeah," I said, "let's go see what's out here." And together, surrounded by light in an endless void, we took our first step into the unknown.